what's good, everybody, and welcome to a little track review over here at Behind That Suit. My name is Holden Stephan Roy,
I am your lady friend Bonnie.
and today we got a Patreon requested track review from the homeboy Ismail Gadamsi, and today we will be talking about Jeru the Damaja's You Can't Stop the Prophet. So yeah, if you want to have us do track reviews, you can hit up that patreon.com/behind that suit. But on that note, we're gonna get it going. I thought the best way we could do this as a group, given the Twitch environment for those watching it live, is that we could check out the song, and in the future, you're gonna see a little cut happen. All right, your lady from Bonnie, I'm gonna talk once I get to it. So in all fairness and whatnot, we should have you go first while I switch over to Brave Browser.
True. Well, I liked it. I thought this was a cool song. I like the story that he's telling. And this came out April 6th, 1994, I believe. So I'll just kind of like go through what I understood from it. Yeah. So like he's like an educated black prophet, and like he's here to educate the masses because he's leveled up and he's gained some knowledge, and he's basically like like a superpower, like this, like knowledge is his superpower, and he's like there to like combat ignorance. And especially he talks about like trying to educate ignorant people in the ghetto. So I'm thinking like maybe he's from the ghetto, or he grew up there, or he's just seeing like people that he knows, and kind of having like arguments with them and things like that, and so he's kind of over it. And so he is so Mr. Ignorance like is like his like sworn like arch nemesis or whatever, and he commands like hatred and jealousy and envy to attack Jeru. And then, like, I like these lines. I dip, do a backflip, then I hit him in the heart with sharp steel bookmarks. Ignorance hates when I drop it, but no matter what he do, he can't stop the prophet. So I really like that he talks about hitting them in the heart with sharp steel bookmarks, because like I know exactly like I'm imagining exactly that, and I think it's cool that like he's gonna kill him with like knowledge and like I don't know. I like that kind of imagery. So I thought that was some real gangsta shit. Uh, and then he talks to a girl who tells him that ignorance has actually gone to another part of the city. He's gone downtown. And again, like that's kind of where, if we think about like what a downtown is, like no matter what, it's usually not in these times, but usually where like that's like the hubbub of like all of business, and there's a lot of people there, and like it's just like a busy hustle and bustle. um, so like that's where he is, and so whatever, and so that's where he goes, and he's talking about how ignorance is making young girls, young, maybe like susceptible, you know not because they are still ignorant essentially to the world, about a lot of things. Young people just are. They haven't had that experience. Wisdom comes with age and with time, and it's not their fault. And he's kind of preying on like these young girls, and he's getting them to have his babies even though they're not grown yet themselves, which kind of helps to continue the cycle of ignorance, because if you just keep ignorant people from gaining the knowledge, and you just keep forcing them to raise other people, or their children to be ignorant, it's just going to continue to create that culture, I guess. And then anger shows up and attacks with animosity and despair. So I thought that like that was kind of cool as well. I just like the feelings that he's using to like describe the attacks. And then Prophet ends up in a barber shop, and they're trying to like remove his hair. And I know that it said, and like I get like why it does, because I suppose this is like the deadly sins sort of, and that like The Genius annotation said that it was about Samson, I believe, who had his hair
But it's also
cut
like,
off.
just to add to that, like look at Rastafari and the connection to hair. There's a big connection
Yeah,
to hair and
that's
spirituality, right?
exactly. And like, I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking because I don't know the Bible.
But
Like
that's a big thing.
yeah,
No, but
obviously
like,
it's a big thing. But like for me, like I was like I didn't connect with that annotation. But for me, like in my opinion, like I was assuming it had to do with like removing part of like his identity, part of like his blackness, and kind of like it just kind of made me think of like like slavery days and like cutting off the hair and kind of like how it removes part of your power in a sense. And like
mm,
I can definitely imagine that when you cut your hair off, no matter who you are, it can definitely have dramatic effects on you and your life, which is kind of wild. um, yeah, anyway, so then anger attacks him again with animosity and despair. And then we have deceit who comes in, and she is Mr. Ignorance's wife. And she is about to cut off his hair, and pulls out the clipper. Um, but then when she tries to shave off his head, the razor actually like blows up and like it explodes and it like kills everyone, I guess. And so he's able to like get away, and then he goes after Ignorance at the library, which I thought was an interesting like sort of like he's bringing him to a place where he probably feels more comfortable, more at ease, like like it's kind of like his safe space. You think of a library and you think of a lot of nerds hiding in there,
mm,
and like that being their safe space. So for Ignorance to like like infiltrate like that, it's it definitely is gonna like draw him there. um and now where am I at? I'm just trying to like follow through. So yeah, it's obviously like a setup. And then he ends up getting gassed, I believe. And he doesn't really, Ignorant says he doesn't really give a shit that his like wife Deceit is dead because he's got others and he doesn't care. And it's just like another, he can find another girl basically. Like it doesn't matter to him. And so he doesn't take that like relationship seriously. So, and like that's pretty much the story. And then and it's the battle, and the saga continues. And but like the prophet cannot be stopped, and he will continue to teach others and will continue to fight. And I think mostly because there's always going to be ignorant people, and like there's always going to be those who escape from their ignorance and
mm.
step up and better themselves and learn and take the time to understand like how to be a better person, and like how to like you know knowledge, you just learn it. And so I think that that's kind of it. Like it's just that the saga continues, and it will forevermore continue because there's always going to be people that are going to fight against change and like intelligence. But like it's very interesting because I know like what you thought about this was a little bit different from
No,
what
I
I
mean,
I thought about it. um
I I definitely don't disagree with a thing
no,
you've said.
no. But like just like your like anyways, you'll get to it. But anyways, I thought it was a really cool story. It definitely made me think of something that I would have done as like a lyrical breakdown once upon a time. And yeah, it's pretty unique, and it's well told. So I gave it like a 4.75 on 5.
So yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Bonnie said. I mean, she really broke down the track. He also does it mad clever. Like you see, like there's just some very smart things I think that Jeru the Damaja does that
Mm-hmm.
I really agree with. As an example, a lot of people believe that people are stupid. And stupid to me always feels like this unchangeable thing. Like there's this like there are people born smart and there are people born stupid, and those stupid people are just over there and fuck them. Like that's the attitude that comes off. But nah, he plays on the fact that it's ignorance that's actually the enemy. And the difference between ignorance and stupidity, although stupidity is often a manifestation of ignorance, is that ignorance is something that can be changed via education
Yep.
and mostly via knowledge of self. Like it takes a high degree of self-awareness in order to look into your soul and understand the different negative emotions that exist and how they attack you, which is I think what he's trying to accomplish at like a psychological level,
Mm-hmm.
explaining, nah, look at these actions, look at these behaviors, look at these emotions, they are kind of negative. But when you also look at Can't Stop the Prophet, I mean, you could argue that that is a double entendre for simultaneously the prophet being Jeru representing one side of a coin, the knowledge of self and the power of truth and all of that stuff, but then flip that entirely into also you can't stop the prophet from like a monetary sense, where a lot of the things that preys on this ignorance is the profit as in capitalistic machine.
Yeah.
So in a sense, you can't stop either profit. You can't stop the truth from fighting the negative machine in a sense. And I think that this track was meant to manifest that battle that is eternally going on. And so it ends where like you look at the music video in particular where it's like this almost stereotypical caricature of a capitalist backroom smoky guy being like, fuck it, you defeated one of my heads, I've got many others, right? Like that's the profit machine. The more you shed ignorance on one trick, the more that they find another trick to come through with it. But at the same time, it's showing that via knowledge, via using books with all these influences like the library references and all these other things, you can develop the superpowers and the strengths to navigate through the murkiness and thus combat these negative emotions, understand them, and one by one defeat them. Because it doesn't sound like, yo, it's over, like in the sense that it can't be changed forever. It just sounds like the battle is this process of one by one by one by one defeating it till this machine is defeated. And therefore you can't stop the prophet because the prophet can always defeat the things that like fuel the negative, you know? But
there's always going to be more and more and more of them, and like that's why he's just going to keep like taking like these like young girls and breeding them basically to create this like ignorance that lives on forever.
so it's like this interesting look at like how both the cure and the disease are almost taking the same route to manifest. And thus it's probably like a reminder to always know it's a battle in a sense that doesn't end, because you have to always be on guard for the attacks that will come that you may not even see. So you may be prepared to deal with deceit, but are you really prepared to deal with hatred and envy? Are you really able to deal with the animosity and despair? Are you prepared for all these different things that are coming, all of the different tools that ignorance manifests in your life to prevent you from the greatness and shit? I like it. But let's Premier's beat's ridiculous too. It's really one of those simple grooves that like it lays down properly and just makes you feel proper, like you just got a head bop to it. And the way that Jeru spits the flows over it too, it's just almost like you feel like a comic book is kind of playing out in your head as you're watching this. Now maybe I'm biased by watching that music video, but I feel like it's still the vibes on this before the video, just the energy of it.
And like there's like really great like creativity like in like the artistry of the like music video, but I'm like, oof, this is such like a 90s music video at the same time. Like the cartoons and like all of that is like really great, but it is just like so like
yeah. But
old.
I'll have to say, I don't have a lot more to say about the production except Premier knocks it out the park and it's worth mentioning.
Yeah.
And Jeru's flow is ridiculous. His technique is there, but really what strikes me is the level of like this comes off like it could be like perceived as kind of like preachy, but instead of being preachy, it takes a lot of the concepts otherwise preachy people would use and goes really cool and fun with it. And I think that's a really clever way of actually flipping some stuff. And you're right, as Ismail said, the emphasis on particular words is great. His whole flow is animated. Everything about this is cool. The use of effects to create dramatics and stuff is brilliant. The whole thing is a brilliant track. Like honestly, it's a 5 on 5. Like it's pretty perfect. I have nothing bad to say about this song except to sing its praises.
It's really fun like to listen to. Like it's enjoyable. It tells a story. It like keeps you interested. So I like that.
So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that track. For reals, it's a pleasure to have y'all here with us. We're definitely not stopping the stream. We're gonna keep going, but for the sake of the video, thank y'all for watching in the future. Definitely hit that subscribe button, likes, all that good stuff. Leave your comments. I know Ismail, who requested this, loves the comments, so feel free to leave those. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail, Good MC, Chris Prado, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Scribble. They're dope. They support what we do. If you want to support what we do and get us to do these quick little song reviews, you know what to do. On that note, yo, live long and prosper, everyone.